We have already familiarized ourselves with the principles of how the visual vestibular system works, and discussed why we experience neck tension, dizziness, discomfort, and loss of balance during movement. And let's talk once again about how our eyes affect our nervous system in general and how they are connected to the neck as well. Our eyes and neck are not in fact a single unified whole that always works together in perfect harmony. In reality, first and foremost, our eyes will turn toward the target, and then it is generally assumed that we will subsequently turn our head toward the target as well, and eventually our body will also turn toward the target. In other words, the eyes are the initial driver. If you place your fingers on the muscles just under the back of your head, press gently with your fingers and start moving your gaze to the left or to the right, you can even feel a contraction, a slight tightening or contraction. Try it and see if you can feel it. Press your fingers on the muscles under the back of your head and move your eyes left and right. You can feel how the muscles slightly contract. They prepare our movement depending on where the eyes are turning. Quite often when we spend the entire day looking in a particular direction, for example, if our workspace is not set up properly and we have to look to the side, or if you are a specialist who has to spend a significant amount of time in an uncomfortable position. Very often, at the end of the day, we may feel both tension in the neck and tension in the eyes, and these sensations are frequently connected and closely related to each other, often occurring together. Including in previous exercises, we noticed that when performing eye movements, our head also wants to turn, and many people are unable to move their eyes independently from their head. In fact, the better we are at moving our eyes in space without involving the neck, the easier and more comfortable it will be on our neck overall, especially over time. Very often when our eyes cannot be properly stabilized by our nervous system, the brain creates tension in the neck muscles to help keep the head steady. This natural response helps maintain balance and clear vision. For example, we have a skill called gaze fixation. We look at a single point, and very often we spend the whole day looking at one point, at a computer, a phone, or a screen. When our muscles are unable to hold the gaze position for a long time, the neck muscles become involved. Here's a very simple idea. The better our eye muscles work, the easier it is on our necks. There are also various oculomotor disorders. This can include amblyopia, strabismus or squint, convergence insufficiency, when we can't bring our eyes together to focus on a single point in front of us, and when you start reading, everything becomes blurry, doubles, and it's uncomfortable for you. Again, this happens because our system is complex. There are as many as 6 muscles, just imagine. And just imagine how incredibly difficult and challenging it is to precisely aim the pupil at a target, especially at a very small target, and you have to do this with both eyes simultaneously so that the points of our gaze are absolutely identical, so that the lines of sight intersect exactly at the required point. It's a very complex and intricate coordination system, and sometimes it happens that our muscles can't coordinate the movement of the eyeball, and as a result our eyes don't converge evenly. Let's say one eye converges more and the other a bit less. The images don't overlap with each other. As a result, the brain has to make extra effort to merge the images because each of our eyes sees separately. And then the images are combined in the brain from both eyes, among other things. The eye muscles play an important role, and these are the muscles we will be training in this lesson. The stronger, more mobile, and more flexible our eye muscles are, and the better our visual skills such as tracking, saccades, convergence, and fixation become, the easier it is for our nervous system to process visual information efficiently and comfortably. By the way, I think that many of you have probably noticed that when our eyes get tired, our whole body gets tired too. You could have been sitting at the computer for 6 hours, feeling eye fatigue, and you notice that your whole body feels tired. Why does this happen? We've established that 90% of all incoming information enters our nervous system thanks to the organ of vision. It's not just images, colors, and objects. It's a complex recognition system that plays an important role in forming our posture and in generating movement for the body. And any movement, among other things, is coordinated with the help of our eyes. That's exactly what we'll be working on in the practical part. I'll show you a simple relaxation technique. This is especially relevant for those who spend a lot of time in front of screens. And we'll start with a massage. We'll use our fingers and perform a massage around the eyes. Under the eyes gently with circular motions. The outer corners of the eyes. Then on the inner corners. We also use a method known as relaxation. How do we do this? We gently place the soft pads of our fingers on our closed eyelids, making sure not to apply any pressure. Take a moment to feel the gentle warmth from your fingers, then, after a few seconds, very slightly increase the pressure you are using. Once your eyes begin to relax, you will immediately notice that you feel much better. I experience a very pleasant and soothing sense of relaxation. By the way, this is also an interesting technique that can help lower pressures. So once again, rub your fingers together gently, place them softly on your eyelids, feel the gentle warmth, and then slightly increase the pressure. Hold it there. Relax. Another technique for relaxation is rapid blinking. I squeeze my eyes shut and blink rapidly. Once again, gently squeeze your eyes shut, holding them closed for a brief moment. Then, open your eyes and blink quickly several times in a row. Next, we will do a series of exercises that improve our fixation. This is one of our skills. We can fixate, meaning we can look at one point for a long time. We've already practiced smooth tracking when our eyes follow an object. And now we will do additional convergence-divergence exercises. This is an excellent exercise for those who really have to deal with problems while reading and feel discomfort, for example, when reading, especially on public transport. This exercise is for prevention. It helps prevent strain from prolonged screen use. So, fixation. For fixation, we can use a target. It could be our finger or any object at different distances. That is, we can use either a distant target or a nearby one, depending on the specific exercise. You might ask, how should I do eye exercises if I wear glasses or contact lenses? And that's an excellent question to consider. In general, our main goal is to improve and enhance our visual skills and abilities. And we are training the eyes. And we assume that we will train the eyes without correction, that is, without glasses or contact lenses. In real life, taking out or putting in contact lenses can sometimes be a bit difficult. With glasses, it's much easier. If you wear contact lenses, try to do these exercises anyway. In the morning before you put your lenses in, and in the evening after you take them out. And during the day with lenses on, why not? So what do? We have several fixation points. There are 9 of them. In front of you, above, below, to the right, to the left, and diagonally. A total of 9 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9 are in front of you. In each position, we start with about 10 to 15 seconds. By the way, we can check or assess something if we want. Any movement can be used as an assessment. It could be shoulder flexion or it could be internal rotation of the shoulder. Let me show you using internal rotation of the shoulder. My internal rotation of the right arm is slightly limited. This is my maximum. Here I already feel strong resistance to the effort. I don't have any pain. On the left, it's significantly better. You can see that my left arm rotates inward well, while the right is a bit worse. Let's try to assess how my eyes affect my muscle activity. So, I'll start by fixing my gaze straight ahead. I'm using a target. I won't do it for 15 or 20 seconds, that's quite a long time. I'll show you in a short format 5 seconds each. I relax and check. Nothing has changed. Next, I use the position with my gaze to the right. Both eyes are looking at the target. I check my arm. Overall, there are no changes. I'm using a diagonal. I check my arm again. It feels like it's getting a little better. The range of motion increases. What's happening? Maybe I need a little more time to fix my gaze specifically in the upper right corner. Why? My muscles might be weak or I don't use this position enough. So by improving the work of my oculomotor muscles right now, my nervous system works better and movement becomes easier. You don't even have to check anything, just do all the positions for 10 to 15 seconds each. We look up very little during the day. We're always looking either straight ahead or down. Few people lift their heads up and enjoy the beauty above. Let's check this as well. There's quite a pronounced effect here. Both my hand and my shoulder have certainly shown significant improvement. In the range of motion, specifically in internal rotation. Again, I never look up myself. Well, sometimes. Up and to the left. Here I feel a subtle and gentle tension in the oculomotor muscles, especially in my left eye. And now my arm is restricted. That is, I can't turn it any further. I feel slight tension, and now there's even some discomfort. This is my limit. So what happened? Why did the movement get worse? As I said, I felt slight tension. The brain can perceive this as a threat, as danger. Not in the literal sense, but still. And by stimulating the area, and by stimulating the position in which I feel uncomfortable, the sense of threat increases, and accordingly, the body tenses up. Imagine that I have to look up to the left all the time, and by the end of the day, I might feel tired. So, again, what am I going to do? I found my weak spot. Now let's check all the others. This is to the left. Let's check here as well. Here it's a little bit better again. Down to the left. Let's check. The range of motion is coming back, and downwards too. Back to the starting point. You can use absolutely any movement. For example, if your back is bothering you, you can even check the movement in your back. And once again, I'll return to my weak position. Up to the left. I feel a slight tension in my left eye, and let's make sure that is really the case. Indeed, that my arm's movement is actually restricted. So, what do I need to do? We've discussed simple relaxation techniques. I'll try to relax my eyes. Let's blink. And check my arm again. It's rotating well again. To fix this situation, first, I can make the task easier by not moving the target too far away, meaning using a small range of motion. Just like with physical exercise like strength training, if we use a large range of motion, it's often more difficult, or a heavy weight, so we start with a small range of motion with a light weight. It's the same with vision. I use a small range of motion, just a little bit. I relaxed. There was no change in my hand, it didn't get worse. So next time I can slightly increase the range of motion. And so on. In other words, I will gradually and consistently move towards increasing the difficulty. The difficulty will increase due to the range of motion, the extreme position, and also the duration. That is, you can extend the exercise to 20 to 30 seconds. Let's move on and once again recall the smooth tracking exercises we've already done together. I'll just remind you about them once more and we'll make some modifications. We remember that we can track horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. How else can we make it more challenging? First, we can do more complex shapes. That is, these are circular movements and spirals. A circle is a great option to start with. I make sure that my head doesn't move at all, and I simply and carefully perform a slow circular motion following the circle with my eyes. While doing the circular movement, I mentally assess the sensations in my eyes and may notice that in one part of the circle I feel more tension or less. I definitely feel even more tension, specifically in the same place where I previously felt tension when fixing my gaze up and to the left. In the other direction, I can also perform a circular movement in the horizontal plane, and this action will combine both smooth tracking and the convergence of the eyes. So, in this demonstration here, we bring the target object close to the nose, and as a result, my eyes converge. And then I return back. I can also use a simple spiral movement as well. I go down, increasing the amplitude. The target gets closer and closer, steadily and gradually approaching the nose, moving ever nearer to the nose. So you can use circles. You can use circles in the horizontal plane. You can use spirals, and these kinds of spirals as well. An excellent, wonderful exercise for enhancing the function and performance of the eye muscles, for relaxing the eyes, and for enhancing visual skills. And of course, the foundation for those who have difficulties working at a computer, who experience double vision or fatigue after reading, is convergence-divergence. Here, you need to pay attention to your eyes. They will perform convergence and divergence, and you can record yourself on camera and watch. See how well your eyes move. What is convergence? It's the bringing together of the visual axes. We use a target at arm's length at the bridge or tip of the nose. It's easier at the tip, harder at the bridge. Let's start with the bridge of the nose. I carefully look at the target, at the letter, and then slowly move the target toward the tip of my nose, bringing my eyes together. I don't experience double vision, I see the target clearly. That's close enough. Everything is fine here. I move it back. I can do 10 repetitions easily. And I can also increase the difficulty, for example, by changing the level. Now we move the target toward the bridge of the nose. Here, it feels a bit more difficult. I feel tension in my eyes, but I still see the target. Ideally, you should be able to see the target clearly right up close, that is just a few centimeters, about 2 to 3 centimeters away. If the distance is very large, it could indicate convergence insufficiency. And the reason I asked you to record yourself on video or on camera, or to ask one of your friends, partners, or colleagues to watch how your eyes move, is because people who have experienced neck pain often have differences in eye movement on one side. That is, you might notice, for example, one eye converges, while the other continues to look straight ahead, or as the target moves toward the nose, one eye starts to drift. That's why we first carefully assess our initial condition and then we proceed as follows. The eye that doesn't converge enough, or in which you feel any tension, or if you already know you have amblyopia, which is also commonly called a lazy eye. We take these factors into account. Then we can dedicate a bit more time to the weaker eye. How do we do that? We carefully cover one eye and work exclusively with the other eye. I slowly bring the target object closer, gradually move it inward and focus my attention on the target. I concentrate and focus with my eye and then return to the starting position. I make one eye converge toward the nose, shift toward the nose, taking my time to ensure accuracy and precision throughout the process. And then move it back. We work according to the principle 2-1-1-2. This essentially means we do the exercise with both eyes and then with just one eye. Then again with one eye and then again with both. In other words, we train both eyes, then one eye, each eye separately, and then integrate both eyes again. This exercise is done for 10 repetitions, and I recommend doing it more often, especially if you spend a lot of time on computers. After you finish the convergence-divergence exercise, also work with each eye separately, shift them, hold here, then do this exercise again with both eyes, and at the very least, check how your neck feels. For example, by the way, it's interesting that this exercise can also be used for back pain. It's fantastic, or for pain in the cervical spine. I won't go into complex neurology with you. And our eyes truly represent a unique system in the brain. I'll just say this one thing. If we experience any pain or discomfort when extending either the cervical spine or the lumbar spine, then we should follow this particular sequence. We begin by starting from a position that is very close to the nose, right up close, then move the target object back. Close our eyes for a moment, bring the target back to the nose, and finally open our eyes again while up close. This sequence helps to ensure comfort and safety during the movement. And again, move it back, close your eyes, open them in the center. Do 10 repetitions of this exercise, then carefully retest and observe the sensations in your neck or lower back. Also, if you experience any pain or discomfort when bending, then we do the opposite sequence instead. That is, now we carefully hold the target at the distance from your hand, slowly move it towards your nose. Gently close our eyes, and open them again when the target is moved away from us. Bring it closer again. Close your eyes, return it. Bring it closer, close your eyes, return it. After that, assess again whether it has become easier to bend. Bend your lower back and neck. Use it, practice it regularly. Eye exercises should be done consistently for 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. That will be quite enough to feel a great result.